Hello, everyone. It's your boy Dante Suave, Mr. J. We are in the house. United World of Sports. Another Monday. Let's get it going. Yeah, we're gonna have to get into it because I was sending like massive amounts of stuff
Oh yeah.
and matter of fact, were you able to see that one thing I sent you about the all-time wide receiver pyramid?
Yes. Yeah. And I
Okay.
didn't like it.
Okay.
And it wasn't a fact of I didn't like it because of what was said on there. There are some people that's on there that got ranked a lot higher than what they needed to be, and some people that should have been a lot lower than what they should. It
Oh,
is it's the typical debate with who
okay.
gets put where.
All right. All right. All right. So then let's talk about it. The GOAT is um
It's Rice.
is
That's a
Jerry
given.
Rice.
Yeah.
And then you got
Here
on
we go.
the all-time greats, you got Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, and
Calvin
Calvin
Johnson.
Johnson.
Okay, so right there off the bat, Calvin Johnson, borderline. I would not put T.O. as an all-time great. I would put him as an absolutely special wide receiver
Okay.
because the premise of it all goes down to where one of my factors with it and I was thinking about what my argument would be when it came to the other topic we were going to have, but especially when it comes to this one too. Randy Moss did most of his damage with Minnesota. Then he went to New England. Jerry Rice was most of his damage was with San Francisco. Then he went to Oakland on the back end of the career. And I think he didn't he go to Seattle too for a little bit. I'm not for sure.
I think he went to Seattle for a hot minute, and he even went to Denver.
So, but his numbers and his stats made it to where that's why he's there.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is that to me one of the things that's starting to come into my head is that how your greatness is also compared to what you did with what was presented with you during that time frame. So you had if you went through multiple quarterbacks, if you went through multiple coaches, if you went through multiple supporting casts, and you were still in that high standard of greatness of what you were doing, then yeah, you get that point of it. But when you get to the team hopping from team to team because of free agency, because of you looking out for self, because of better opportunities, things of that nature, I don't think that it should be the same. I don't think it should directly hinder what your status is on it, but it should be put into play with your status on there because if you just so happen to go from great quarterback to great quarterback to great quarterback, and your stats is showing because you're with the great quarterback, then naturally you're gonna have a good situation. If you're going to front running great teams all the time with it, versus you sitting up there going through a rebuild, going through multiple rebuilds with different coaches, different teams, different setups, but your numbers didn't stayed the same no matter what. You always produced. That gives me I put more onus on that than it is from jumping back and forth. So when it comes to TO, with that, we all know TO's history with where he's went, how many teams he's played for, and everything else when it comes to there. I think it kind of steps it down a little bit because a lot of situations that he went to, except for a couple, he had all pro quarterbacks throwing to him during that time, or Pro Bowl style quarterbacks throwing to him to help pad those stats. Detroit, you got to remember, a lot of the time when Calvin Johnson was getting them passes from Matthew Stafford, they sucked, but he was still getting his numbers. Randy
Right.
Moss, Randy Moss had that run when he had those runs with Minnesota. Then he had that run with Brady in there for it. But once he got to Oakland, he wasn't doing those numbers.
Um,
He had one good season with Oakland when you think about it. Other than that, he wasn't getting those numbers.
Um, did I miss something?
But
Why do they have T. Higgins with a Carolina Panthers and one behind his head?
because they're stupid, he's still a Bengal.
I looked at that. I'm like, wait a minute. I know I haven't been that far out of the loop.
But here's my question with that. When was this done?
I saw it yesterday.
Because here's the thing. Would you put T. Higgins above Jamar Chase? Jamar Chase is not on this list. Justin Jefferson is not on this list.
Wow.
Yeah, this list is a few years old. Because if you really think about it, Michael Pittman Jr., they got Brandon Cooks on here. Brandon Cooks is not an honorable mention. Randall Cobb as an honorable mention. That's what I was saying. Once you get in here for, I didn't even pay attention to the years of this.
Darius Thomas, Deshaun
They got
Jackson.
Donald Driver on here, man.
Well, I mean, yeah.
You got Donald Driver on the same level as, Sterling Sharp. No, nope.
Mm, yeah.
And everybody that they had along that Hall of Fame line is cool, except for the simple fact of no, of franchise greats was cool. But wait, hold on. Hall of Famers. Dude, that just made the whole thing invalid.
Oh,
You see it?
oh, holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like what?
Mm-hmm.
Now, wow.
You think Head Case is gonna get in there as a Hall of Famer?
Hold well, I mean, absolute special wide receivers. Um,
So everybody, this is what it's saying right now.
Great tools are working hard.
Oh,
There goes one man shop in Illinois. He
advertisers playing
demands
in the
affordable
background.
tools that don't quit.
So here's what it's saying. The GOAT on this all-time wide receiver pyramid was Jerry Rice. All-time greats was Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, and Calvin Johnson. Absolutely special wide receivers was Larry Fitzgerald, Doc Hudson, Chris Carter, Steve Largent, and Marvin Harrison. Hall of Famers was Lance Allworth, Tim Brown, Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson, Julio Jones,
um,
and Antonio Brown.
okay. All right. So, no offense to Andre Johnson, Julio Jones, or Antonio Brown,
Mm-hmm.
but since they putting up people from way back, where's Ricky Prohl? I mean,
How would you put Michael Irvin, who won 3 Super Bowls, below people that only won one, two, one? Torrey Holt.
yeah, Michael Irvin was a problem. Yeah, there was.
Because see, this is why I love lists,
How do you?
because list is
I,
where I could just destroy them.
I don't understand how Andre Johnson, Julio Jones. I mean, what?
I
Hall of
don't under,
Fame of the injury list?
I don't understand how you can have Chris Carter up that high.
Well, Chris was special.
He was special.
Chris was special.
But would you say
He
but
was
would you say he
special,
was top nine?
but wow,
Top nine?
the top. I would definitely put him above Andre Johnson. Definitely put him above Julio Jones, and I would definitely, if yeah, Antonio Brown. Them three, yeah. I
Antonio Brown should have been honorable mention or in that rack of it. Yes, he had a few good seasons, but to say that he is in the top 15 all time, no, no, never.
Andre Reed, French fries, great. I can respect that
I
one.
can
Jimmy
respect that
Smith,
one. Hines
um,
Ward, I can respect that one. Art Monk, I can respect that one. Chad Johnson, I can respect that one. I can respect those. But anything else? No.
Rod Smith was, yeah, Rod Smith was a problem when he was with Denver. Yeah, for
Oh
sure.
yeah. But look at how seriously you had Rod Smith up there. Who else did I see from Denver? Demaryius Thomas definitely should have been honorable mention. But who's Jay Taylor for the Steelers?
I don't know.
Because I thought it was Lynn Swan and Lance Stallworth. That's John Taylor from the 49ers. AI is a mug.
Yeah, yeah, that's gotta be. That's got to be who they meant it. Just like the whole T Higgins thing, and they got him in the Panthers. Yeah. Now John Taylor of the 49ers. Yeah, him and
Uh-oh.
Okay, so comments.
Uh-huh.
There's a guy that said, "Why is everybody always overvaluing T.O.? Every wide receiver in the fourth tier is better than T.O." Wait a minute, hold on. One, two, three, four. Ooh, ooh. Now, I don't like T.O. and his antics, but I don't know about everybody on the fourth tier because fourth tier is the Hall of Famers, right?
Uh yes.
I uh ooh, ooh. I don't.
The only two that I would say would have been higher regard than T.O. would be Tim Brown and Lance Allworth. And maybe Andre Johnson.
No Tory?
No. Here's the reason why. And it's not a knock against anybody doing that. They were products of the scheme. The greatest show on turf, that run and shoot offense made all the wide receivers look like they were top notch. From Holt to Fro, anybody that was in there in that group.
Well, no, because Ricky Pro did his thing no matter where he was. Ricky Pro
Right.
was
But
doing
he
his thing.
but
You
he
remember
really
Ricky Pro Super Tecmo Bowl?
yeah, but Ricky Pro almost won an MVP in that season when he was in there with the Super Bowl MVP in that season with the Rams when they lost that game to the Patriots.
Yeah.
Because he was in that role in that scheme, he was nasty. A lot of people don't remember Ricky Pro from the Cardinals and stuff like that during that time frame for it.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the Cardinals wasn't doing much, but yeah, I remember him.
Right. So that's why. But when you look at that list, Lance Allworth was always a very big target for Phelps and company and the Chargers. And then Tim Brown was the first one really to do the kickoff and the punts, plus be a go-to receiver during that time frame. So it made it to where he was a little bit more of the he was a little bit more prominent when it came to that. So I don't knock it, but yeah.
Yeah, I now that I actually get to sit and get to look at it, yeah, there's some
It's hilarious.
there's some what was y'all thinking's going on here. Um,
It said Jordy Nelson was better than Randall Cobb. There was a few of them that said Jordy Nelson was better than Randall Cobb. They ain't lying. Yeah, Mike Evans is over Julio Jones. I'm sorry. And how is Michael Pittman Jr. up there? Somebody put it in there. How is Michael Pittman Jr. up there, but no Amon Ra, no Johnson, no Jefferson, and no Chase?
And
You know what this is?
another person said there's no Dolphins.
No Duper, no Clayton.
That's why I said it needs to be a mountain. I don't care what. I don't care what greatest of all time, no what pyramid, no what. It needs to be a mountain. NBA, NFL, baseball, it needs to be like a whole mountain.
But there's going to be a debate on who's on the top of that mountain. We've had this discussion.
Well, that's fine, but at the end of the day, even Chris Carter, I found something right after I told you that I was like cutting it off. I found something with Chris Carter where he was talking about the fact that at the end of the day, you can name a whole bunch of people that was more athletic than Jerry. Everybody know that,
Right.
but you can't find nobody that statistically or physically played better than him.
No. Jerry Rice was that receiver to where there was nothing you could do. You try to jam him, he outmuscled you, or he blew past you. You played off of him, he did a quick slant and burned you. His hands, anything that came, when you talk about catch radius, anything that went around his hands was caught. And he prided himself on that. So as much as Jerry Rice has been also a part of the bane of my existence as a Bengals fan,
I know, right?
I always have had respect for Jerry Rice in that aspect. I think I want to say my dad them had got me a Jerry Rice jersey and I refused to wear it.
I eventually did. It took me a while, but I eventually.
I know I grabbed one when he was with the Raiders, but I did not have one when he was with I think it was the one with the Raiders. The one with the 49ers, I could never wear it.
All right,
Hell
all
no.
right. So I'm gonna play this real quick. Fully loaded. From the Fully Loaded podcast.
Okay.
That what I was just telling you about what Chris Carter said. But the part that was funny was when he was talking about exactly what you was talking about, the catch radius,
Mm-hmm.
and just listen to him. He backtracked. It was funny because he's like, "Oh yeah, Jerry was the best at catching the ball in the radius." He's like, "Well, I mean, wait a minute. I mean, I was no, I was. It was me."
What made Jerry Rice Jerry Rice? Determination, his work ethic, his overall, he ain't gonna never get hurt. He keeps tricking himself to say he ain't good. He runs everything full speed. He's the best route runner in and out of his breaks, and he's the best big game receiver in the history of the game. But he ain't in the top 100 as far as athletes. He ain't in the top 100. That's how nice he is. Babe Ruth wasn't the best athlete. Like Pete Rose wasn't the best athlete. Like, man,
Nope.
Jerry Rice get it done, man. Work, and he has relentless pressure on the defense. I mean, he's running 1,000,000 miles an hour every route. Every route. Every single route. And he's the toughest mentally. You cannot even move him. I can find 100 dudes better athletes than Jerry Rice. Yeah, and he did what he did in the league better than all of them. There's no one more consistent. There is no one that you would throw one ball to. Maybe Mia Moss, you might. We gonna catch you. But if there's 5 categories,
He said, "Well, maybe me and Moss."
what made Jerry Rice Jerry Rice? Determined.
He said,
But he's not lying. Jerry Rice,
"Oh God, that was funny."
you know how we always sit there and we say you can tell who the greats are by no matter what era it is, people are trying to pick them up for their team, like even on the video games and stuff.
Yeah,
When they're playing Madden and they're doing They're doing the ones where you build them off of the cards that you draw for it for your franchises and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
To hear the people that I hear playing the games and be like, nah, you can't put Rice in. You can't play you Rice is not available on there. This is a rule where they say you can't put Rice on there. And it's like, but if I got him and he's on gold level, why can't I? No, because if he's on gold level, it don't matter where that ball is, he's gonna catch it and he's gonna outrun somebody. That's the whole point. That's what he did in real life.
Right.
So why not let him run? But they will sit there and try to handcuff them so badly, be like, no, nope, can't do it. Nope, nope. Like, all right, fine then. I'll swap him out for Calvin Johnson. Now try to deal with this. Jump balls in the corner. Hope you got a 6'7" cornerback back there. Or you try to take his knees out. One or two.
All right. This one, this one, I want your opinion on it. It had me laughing. I love it when people like go at a a pundit or analyst
Mm-hmm.
and it blows up in their face essentially. And I'll play this Danny Parkins is I believe is that's what his name is.
Less than 3 weeks ago, I proposed some trades, some Jaylen Brown trades. June 23rd, 2 weeks ago. This went to the Rockets. And I said there would be other draft picks thrown in coming to Boston. And it was Kevin Durant and Jabari Smith. Celtics fans hated me. They're like, that's the worst trade I've ever seen. Let's throw up another trade. Let's just throw up another trade. I was like, well, what about Kawhi Leonard and multiple first round picks? Celtics fans were like, idiotic that we would take a guy who's 6 years older than Jaylen Brown. As a Parkins, you don't know ball. I had to mute a million conversations. You were very mean to me, honestly. And let's throw up another. I was like, what about if we try to like piece it together with like three young, interesting players from Atlanta and a couple of picks? Nikhil Alexander Walker, Kaminga, Rishi Shea. It's a pick. Celtics fans were like, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my entire life. And then 8 days later, you get Paul George and a pick that they're like, it could be a first or a swap and some seconds. So I'm just saying, I'd like an apology. Less than.
Now, what did you think of his trades ideas compared to what actually happened?
I would take any of them besides that BS. I would take any of them.
And then here's what got me, and this is the reason why I wanted to talk about it. You remember a team in the NFL that got trashed after they let their best player go to a rival, and he ends up winning the Super Bowl. And people trashed him, and then me and you ended up having to have a conversation that people were actually giving the Giants a bad a bad rap on that when really they did him a solid. Remember?
Oh, Saquon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
But
they
this
let
ain't
him
Saquon.
go. They let him go in free agency. Boston traded him. They actually traded him to the enemy. You're supposed to put him over that. To me, that the trade with Kawhi and the trade with Durant and Jabari Smith, excellent ideas. If for no other reason, the only time you're gonna see him is when you play an interconference game.
A home and home.
You trade him to Philly that you are guaranteed to see him multiple times, including the playoffs. To me, that was like, no matter how you feel about the first round picks and the second round picks, and even how you feel about them getting Paul George, which I'm trying to figure out why you would trade for, of all people, Paul George.
Salary.
Um, but he's injury prone. And basically you just gonna be paying them to spend more time on the bench than actually in the game. So I'm trying. I'm still. You got to somebody whoever okayed that part. I get them on. I get them. I mean, that was just crazy to think that Philly was gonna part with Maxey or Edgecombe. Like no, like no, no. Even if they didn't know everything that was going on in Boston, Philly would have been stupid to let that happen. Now, but then you trade him to the enemy. You trade him to your neighbor. Y'all already got beef. So now that beef is not dying. And he has the opportunity to take out all of his anger.
What did I message you when we were talking about that? It was one line I messaged you.
Oh, I gotta
And
look. I want to say I remember, but I came home to some unfortunate news, so I'm I spaced on it. So
so I I said Jason Tatum has to be an all pro
yeah,
or a top 3 MVP candidate this season in order for this to even remotely make sense.
they at least have to make the conference championship.
No,
Mo-
they gotta beat the Knicks, beat Philly, and go for a chip. There's nothing less now. Because what this did was, and see, I had a whole week of cleaning and reorganization that gave me the time to really sit there and think about all this even more in depth for it.
hmm
Remember how a certain team got destroyed because on a certain weekend, everybody on that team went to a certain place for a certain party and convinced a certain player to come over to them that had been their enemy for a while, and he was a free agent, and they ended up going on a run to where they stopped the Gods team after they had lost that 73-9 championship run.
yeah. I remember that. We've had a lot of conversations about that. Yeah,
Right. So what this is instead of the team all going up to the certain white party in a certain location and recruiting him, that team had him under contract and sat there and said, "You ain't got to come to us. We'll send him to you. Give us your leftovers, and we still feel like we'll be better." Because you traded away your top 5 MVP candidate, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, NBA Finals MVP, your most consistently productive star that you had on your team, to the team that beat you and put you out the playoffs and never won another playoff game again after they eliminated you. So they were already better than you without him, and then you gave it to him. Oh, by the way, you gave him to them with a chip the size of Mount Everest on his shoulder to play against you. The over-under should be 45 points for what he will probably drop on them every time they play. I can't wait to see him go back to the guard. Because here's the thing.
I hope he doesn't do that.
What? Why?
Because that's gonna hurt the team.
No, I think Philly, if he drops 40 and the other two drop 20 to 25 apiece, they're fine. Because here's the thing. Philly got stronger because now, what was the one thing that we kept on saying throughout the playoffs was the issue that led to them getting swept out? They had to rely on Embiid to be Embiid in order for them to win with that. Now you don't have to worry about Embiid being Embiid. Embiid just got to give you something. You got a 1, a 2, and a 3 out there now.
Embiid needs to not be there. In order to truly help Philly, they need somebody with the attributes of Embiid without the injuries of Embiid.
But you're not going to find nobody in that right now. That's the problem. Embiid,
and I understand that, but if you have him on the court at all, he's going to end up being a detriment, because I still wonder what would have happened if Maxey had never got knocked into his knee. I would love to know how that Philly series Knicks series would have actually went.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking that at all. My thing is that think about it now without having to rely on Embiid's offense and just say, hey, if you give us 10, 10, and 2 to 3 blocks on there for it, your point production and your rebound production is going to move to Jaylen Brown for the 3. And you can piecemeal whatever you need for the 4 in there for it, and you okay as your starting 5.
Yeah, but are they going to be able to spread? Are they going to be able to spread that ball without it being a problem between them 3?
Yeah, because you got 2 point guards. Edgecombe and Maxey is the point guards.
Okay.
So you got 2 points. You're not the biggest worry for Philly right now would be the Knicks. Boston then took themselves completely out the mix, because unless Jason Tatum plays like he is on there, who else do they have? And then to hear them come out and say some of the people in their team saying their analytics is saying that Pritchard was a better long-term fit than Jaylen Brown. Get the fuck out of here.
You know what? I don't think it was the analytics. I think it was relationship and relationship, 1, 2. How much are they paying him? Now, the money analytics, if that's what they meant by analytics, I can see that.
But whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? Because let's be real here. If you blindfolded somebody and you gave Jason Tatum's resume and Jaylen Brown's resume for it, and you put their numbers and their accolades head to head on there, you're going to take Jaylen Brown's. They are hoping. Kings of Comedy, Cedric the Entertainer's routine. Some people hope that nothing happens. Some people wish that something happens. I wish somebody would say something, because it'd be on and cracking. The wish was Jaylen Brown. The hope is Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is the superstar. He's the face. He's everything that they try to build their image off of. But he didn't win a chip without Jaylen Brown.
Always always know that when it comes to, if you notice the pattern of the NBA
Mm-hmm.
or the NFL, you notice they always want to build, preferably if the front office had it their way, they want to build on the quiet.
Right.
And 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 Jason Tatum is quiet. The only thing that wasn't quiet about him was he didn't appreciate people saying that he was going to be a complete bust out of everybody that got drafted in his draft class. And I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know that Jalen had a lot to do to contribute, but at the same time, for what he was projected, according to the naysayers, he was never supposed to get there, even with a Jalen Brown.
Right. But the other part about that is that in the two finals that they went to, now I remember this because I won a bet and I lost a bet during that time frame because
Gotcha.
me and my and I have not even, this is how bad it is. One of my great friends is an avid Boston Celtics fan. He's not posted anything in the past week or so. He's been completely quiet. And he's to the point to where he goes up to Boston to go to games from here. He ain't said nothing. And I haven't even tried to send him a message like, hey, you okay over there? Because I didn't even want to rub that in for it. Because when we made the bet, was when the Warriors won the championship that year. And I sat there and I said, okay, over the next 3 years, we said whoever won between our two teams, the other one would pay $100. So I won 100. There was a year between there, nobody won, and then Boston won it that next year. I gave him that one back. But throughout those whole runs that was in there, if you look at the stats for during that time frame, as much as we always talk about what Jason Tatum wasn't supposed to be, what he was supposed to do, and everything else like that, Jason Tatum has a tendency on big games to shrink under the pressure.
Yeah, and
Jaylen Brown steps up and thrives in it. They wouldn't have lost that series against the Warriors if Tatum would have just hit his averages. Tatum couldn't even hit his averages during that time frame. And that was with Draymond on him.
and I think what happens sometimes, you can tell me if you agree or disagree with this. But I felt like I've seen it. I think one of the reasons why, because to me, I don't feel like it's a Harden situation and Tatum. I feel like it's more like a Derrick Rose situation. Like it's too much. Just let him play his game
Yep, I agree.
and just let him play his game and he gonna do his thing. But if he feels like if he gets it in his head that he has to, oh, I gotta be extra or it's all on me, that's where the as you called it, um the shrinkage comes.
It's the hero ball mentality.
So
Matter of fact, I'm gonna see something here. I'm about to pull this up. Jason Tatum.
let's see what else. What else we got? Whoop. Oh, I found this interesting. It's from
Okay.
the Arena Gridiron.
Okay.
Again, talking about Mr. Ayuk.
That
Now, I actually found the guy that's on there that I'm about to play now. He was actually on something else, and he was also talking about Brandon Ayuk, and he let it be known. He was like, "I under zero circumstances do we want him coming over there." I don't. I want to say I put it. I want to say I put it in here, but I'm not sure. Oh wait, there he is. He was on Speakeasy.
That chance, or is it too risky? Because if he come over there and start playing them stupid games, in Washington, now you look like a fool.
Man, I don't give a damn if he shared a womb with Jaden Daniels. You ain't coming over here. And that's just 100. If I'm a GM, you could have came out, the same thing.
The look on your face when he said that.
That's just you, bro. You acting a fool. You doing all this. You was driving past the stadium, about to get reckless driving. You throwing money around. You talking bad about this ownership. These owners are a club. I don't care if they got different 32 teams. That's a club in itself.
Yeah.
We 32 billionaire owners. We mob and we move as one.
Now that was that one. And then the other one, he was on the Arena Gridiron.
Brock gonna do his. That's not the issue in San Fran. The facts and the numbers say since we got here, our injuries have skyrocketed. Come on, bro, take the L.
But that's
I'm a billionaire. Take the L.
You gonna move him?
It's an inclination. I'm living in my house and it might be mold. And we ran a
And my
test
son's
and
sick.
it ain't no mold.
They did a full.
I'm out of there. We on the verge, on the fringe of being in a championship every year. At some point, that investment to stay there that you put in that property ain't worth it. The health of my kids is not worth the dollar. I'm out because I'm gonna make more money moving somewhere, staying healthy, and getting them chips.
All right, so that was actually two different subjects. One subject was obviously Brandon Ayuk. The other subject was, that it's been being said between Giant Stadium and 49er Stadium, that the injuries is basically coming from the stadium, the shape of the stadium.
It's come from the stadium, the stadium and the location, because I know Levi Stadium is right next to a huge power supply plant. And they're saying the electromagnetic fields could be affecting it for what they were doing out there for it. I'm not a scientist. I don't know. They need to do some of the research and stuff around that and follow some of the trends of what's been researched behind that from there. When it comes to Brandon Ayuk, shut the fuck up.
You know me. I have been ever since he held out and then he actually got on the field and I called him out because him and CD did the same thing. But when week one came, it didn't look the same.
It's
when I looked at it, even though it was BS, I forgive CD because he showed up week one.
right.
But
It is to a point to where, and it's not even remotely funny when you say this. I'm all for freedom of speech. I've always said that.
yeah,
But I'm also for the freedom of, because of your speech, you reap what you sow.
hello.
And the antics after the fact of, you got mad because your boy was laughing off somebody saying F you at a soccer game that he was spectating that because he didn't back you up for it. All the while you're sitting up here posting, you are still an employee. There is no place that you're going to sit there. You work at tire discounters.
Right.
If you was to sit there and be posting up, hey, Midas, come hire me. Hey, Midas, hey, I'm here. I'm waiting on you. Hey, just let me know. You know what I'm saying? Just send me the contract. I'll come over there in a heartbeat. And your bosses from tire discounters can see that. Your boss is gonna be able to like turn in your shit.
Mm-hmm.
You try to go to another team, another rival in order to go do it, they're gonna tell you bounce in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So why do you think that it's okay for you to sit there and do that? And then when you're not getting your way, you start kicking and screaming like a little brat because you're not getting your way. You sit up here, you doing all these lives, you're doing all this stuff. You're going to get attention because you are an NFL player, and NFL players do get all those, get the views and everything else.
And you are going to get some people that's riding with you and supporting your antics.
Right. But at the same time, you can't sit there and keep doing that and think that there's not going to be any repercussions to what you're going to do. And like they said, you are dealing with, no matter what anybody says, the world is ran by conglomerates that can pass as gangs. Realistically, any major league sports enterprise, you have one leader who's voted up there by the gang, but the rest of them, yeah, they're gonna have differences, but most of the time they ride together, they die together. So you think that any player that has been blackballed, folks, all I gotta say is Colin Kaepernick.
T.O. Chad.
T.O. Chad. Anybody that sat there that went up against the fam, you never heard from him again. Or if you heard from him, it wasn't on a field where they was making millions.
Yes, sir.
So what makes you think that you are the outlier any different for it? What you gonna do? Are you gonna file an injunction with the NFLPA saying it's collusion against me doing that? Any lawyer is gonna sit there and say, here's all the defaming remarks and comments that said player said about said team and client for here, and any right-minded judge is gonna sit there and say, get out of my court. Why you waste? Matter of fact, pay their court fees.
Yes, sir.
Brandon Ayuk is about to end up playing in the CFL if they grant him that, and they'll probably grant Brandon Sorsby playing before they would grant Ayuk.
And then people will be screaming racism.
Right, because they'll flip to that. I hope that he gets somebody. I hope that somebody talks to him, because this is almost becoming the cyclical nature of a wide receiver crashing out, and it's always around the second half of the decade, because AB was in the second half of the 2010s. Now you're doing this again.
I got a real bad suspicion. I question, like, even if somebody is trying to talk to him right now, how much he's listening.
And that's scary.
That is based upon just, there's certain personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why the world goes off of statistics. You know, whether you love it or hate it, I hate it. But even though I hate it, I can look at it and understand why they use it, because at the end of the day, they're protecting the brand. They're protecting themselves from as many of the shortcomings of people as possible. There's gonna be some that's gonna see the game and know the game and be able to play the game. And so it's not gonna keep out everybody. But for the most part, it's gonna keep out most. And they'll let themselves get blamed like, oh, y'all just being racist, when really that's even if that is what it is, it's not completely what it is. And they know it. So yeah,
It's not looking good.
hopefully he wakes up.
I'm I always hope that people wake up. What's going on? I always hope that people wake up.
Because
But
he's definitely a talent.
oh yeah, I'm never going to dispute the fact that he's a talent. But at the end of the day, does your talent as an owner, does your talent outweigh
Your ego.
my ego? No, outweigh my bottom line. I cannot sit there and be whisking money or investments if you're not contributing.
Yeah.
If I can't trust it, what am I going to do? And that's why he's not going to end up playing for a team this year. And that was the other thing. They said it had been over 400 some odd days since he played an NFL snap. So if it's been if by the time you touch a field, it might be 500 some odd days. Are you even going to be able to catch up to the speed of where you was at before? It's mind-blowing.
And that's where I don't like the players' attitude about it. Because you ask that question, and all of a sudden they're like, man, what are you talking about? You being disrespectful. Yeah, because in the history of sports, nobody has spent too much time away and not been able to get it back. You're right.
We just watched Serena try to come back from after being gone for a few years. And what happened to her? She ended up, her sister had to back out because of injury. And no, she had to back out because of the injury because of her knee. And she lost her singles match in the first round for it. This used to be the most dominant female tennis player in the world. But she's been retired for some years. You don't get it back. If anything, if you're not playing it in that repetition.
You can't just jump in.
Right. But some of the egos in it make it seem like, oh, this is just like jump rope. I jumped out. I was sitting up there killing it double dutch. All I gotta do is come back around and then do the bounce and then jump right back in, and it's all in together, and I can do everything that I used to do. No. And that's what's going to end up. The other part, before I even go to that one, the other part. We gotta stop thinking that just because our homies got on somewhere that we should get put on there with them too. And I hope that Jayden Daniels didn't do that tested and true method of, yo, I know you're going through that situation. Let me talk to my ownership and see if they can get you on real quick on here with there and see if we can work this out so I can bring you here with me. I hope he didn't do that. Because if you did, then you set up this situation for there. Because that was your boy. If you ain't got you in your second year, you ain't got that pulled yet. You started getting that way. But to help make personnel decisions, not in year two. You still on your rookie contract. Get your re-up and get your extension. Then start throwing your weight around.
All right, so we're gonna fly real quickly through this one. So
Okay.
I found something that said predicting NFL coaches fired in 2026, including first year head coaches.
Mm,
So I'm only gonna read the first paragraph as I see a name.
okay.
Um, so first up is Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen's offensive mind at a minimum warrants uh an offensive coordinator being warrants being an offensive coordinator for as long as he wants. He also delivered some impressive stretches at Indianapolis as the Indianapolis head coach, as evidenced by the 25 and
Wow.
26 record with a consistent top 12 offense despite persistent issues at quarterback and injury issues everywhere else.
Ain't nobody else back there, is it?
I threw that
Okay.
part in. They didn't mention that, and I hate when they don't mention that. I don't mind when you going at a guy,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, let's be honest. Um, uh Injuries can mess up a head coach's career. I'm gonna jump down to the last sentence so that we can move on. It says we do believe that the Colts will be in the hunt into late December, so Steichen and general manager Chris Ballard won't be fired until Monday after week 18. Next up,
Steichen's not gonna lose his job.
you don't think so?
No.
Next up, Todd Bowles. After posting a combined 24 and 40 record as the New York Jets head coach from 2015 to 2018, Todd Bowles got a second chance at a top job thanks to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Actually, that's thanks to Tom Brady, but I digress. Um,
And Bruce Arians.
Details are important. Bruce Arians, him and Tom and Bruce Arians wasn't seeing eye to eye, and uh, Tom seemed to there was something Tom liked about Todd Bowles. Just putting that out there. So, because at the time that it happened, everybody was putting that out there that was a Tom thing. So anyway, said the team made the playoffs in each of his first three seasons, but that says a lot more about how bad the NFC South was. Um, Entering 2026 season, both the New Orleans Saints and the Carolina Panthers are on the rise. There's even reason to think that if things go right for Atlanta, Tampa Bay could be the worst team in the division this fall. We anticipate a very slow start to the year for Tampa Bay, resulting in Bowles getting canned mid-season. And next up,
Bowles will be gone. Bowles, they have to do something. And I think Bowles needs to push for Baker to get an extension in order to give him a little bit of wiggle room.
that won't help.
I said wiggle room. I ain't say it was going to help.
Yeah, well,
But
if you said, well, wiggle room helps. Even wiggle room
now
helps.
wiggle room might get you to the end of the season.
Well, as opposed to being fired mid-season, see, it helped. See,
I mean, but mid-season, what's it going to do? The biggest headache when it comes to Tampa Bay is that you're hoping that Chris Godwin and Emeka Ibuka do something to replace what Evans did throughout his career. You still ain't fixed the running game.
well, in order to fix the running game, you got to fix the line.
Right. And that's what's my next thing. And you ain't fixed the line. So what are you doing?
So you got to fix the line. You got to fix the line for Baker, and you got to fix it for the run game. Not to mention, now the one thing I will say is this, and I think this. I think Evans being gone, even though it definitely looks like it would hurt the offense, I think it's going to help Ibuka
Yeah.
because now your targets are Godwin and Ibuka, not Evans, Godwin, and Ibuka, or Evans, Godwin, Otten, and Ibuka. They get to focus a little more on Ibuka, which me and you have talked about it. Even if it's subconsciously, no matter how talented you are, if you know you're not getting the ball,
You take plays off.
you take plays off.
Mm-hmm.
And that obviously affects your reputation.
Yes, it does.
So, George is a perfect example. Anyway, back to Tampa Bay. Because I've always had a problem with having too much of something and trying to use all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And people questioned them getting Ibuka. It was like, wait a minute, you already got like a massive amount of receivers. Why did y'all get Ibuka? Who are
But
y'all getting rid
but
of?
you knew that Evans was on his way out. That's the thing. They can't sit there and say, why did you get him? And Evans had been injury prone. They had just went through the whole thing where they had got Evans his 1,000 yards the year before, and everybody was excited about that. It's not going to be the same. You have to be able to evolve the team. So you got to get younger, keep going forward. So
Yeah,
I can't knock them for that.
right. I didn't knock him for it. I understood that it was because of the injuries, if nothing else. Um, there were people questioning how much longer Mike Evans was going to be there for the past few years now. So 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 yeah, that there were so many possibilities of reasons, injuries being a very important one because the last thing you need is you got speedy receivers, but they keep coming up injured and you got nothing behind them.
True.
So them getting Ibuka was a good thing. Um, although it did create some issues because he's got to be able to get out there and get a rapport with Baker, and he can't get a rapport with Baker unless somebody gets injured, which you really don't want nobody getting injured. But if he's really going to get a good rapport besides in practice, possibly with Baker, he needs to get it in real time against some teams that's trying to knock Baker's head off and his head off
Mm-hmm.
so that they can both make adjustments during the game. So, but yeah, next up, Dan Quinn.
Oh yeah. Dan Quinn, here's the thing, and this was Dan Quinn's same thing that he dealt with when he was in Atlanta. They caught lightning in a bottle. They did real well. He could never sustain it.
Never sustain it. And as much as I hate to say it, coaches, not only do they tend to be a victim of egotistical players, they are definitely the victims of offensive lines
Mm-hmm.
and the inability to stay healthy and keep chemistry going. Um, a whole host of reasons. It sucks. I I think that would be another reason it would be hard for me to be an NFL a head coach because I would expect to set a standard and I would be in the office like, all right, egos. I ain't got time for them.
Mm-hmm.
What are we gonna do about this ego here, this ego here? Because I'm trying to make sure that my team makes it to the postseason, and I couldn't care less about. I would be a lot like Belichick. I
Oh
could
hell
see
yeah.
myself being a lot like Belichick. Like, no, I run this. Like you have the ability to get me fired. Oh no, I'm running this ship.
Yeah.
Because if I'm gonna get fired, then
It's
then
gonna
then
be on my accord.
yeah, it's gonna be on my court. It's gonna be on me. I'm not gonna sit up here and be bowing to everybody around me and then y'all not stepping up, and then I get fired because of it. No, thank you. So, yeah. Uh, he's always seemed like a pretty cool guy. Knows how to I think if he hadn't had such like so many older players, I think the defense would have looked better because obviously we've seen what he can do with a healthy defense, with a healthy bunch of go-getters on defense. He earned his reputation. But next up is Todd Monken of the wow. So Todd just got there and he can already be fired. It says Todd Monken has been at various levels since 1989, Grand Valley State, and he has decades of experience in the NFL. It took until now, when he is 60 years old, for the longtime play caller to become an NFL head coach. It's also worth keeping in mind that multiple candidates turned down the Cleveland job. I mean, you could point that out, but you don't have
As much as Cleveland turns like a turnstile, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Nothing surprising me with Cleveland, like for real. And it's like I hate to feel that way about it, but they really Cleveland needs. I hope that when Cleveland gets this new stadium, that it's the catalyst for them to actually care about their team. But I don't even think they think that that's going to help. They are so stuck on just getting the money that it's not. They're going to have another cash cow. They're going to have another revenue stream for them to bank the money off of, and just say, "Oh, we put a team out there though.
Right.
Y'all came to watch the team. No, we came to watch winning. We ain't just come to watch the team. What is y'all doing?" But that's how they. Mm-hmm.
So last but not least, and this one won't be a surprise to you at all. Aaron Glenn.
Tuh.
Now, I was sitting up here reading this while you were, because I wanted to see if they were going to be like honest.
Nobody's ever honest.
And they were somewhat honest, but not completely. Like when they talked about how bad the defense was. Yeah, you traded away your best assets who went to other teams and showed out.
Yeah.
Gee, I wonder why the defense turned around and sucked. It's like they mentioned it, but then they didn't put the blame it deserved on it for my taste.
No, they never will.
And because let's see here, it said the Jets were historically bad in the second half of the 25 season. This was partially due to the front office tearing the roster apart, but also because of just how poorly coached the defense was. That falls on Aaron Glenn. He also didn't exactly do himself any favors with the New York media in his first year as a head coach. Fortunately for Glenn, the front office made significant investments into the roster. Yeah, they brought in players that he would want on the team. They didn't have him coaching somebody else's roster and expecting him to come in and work miracles. But I digress. They started talking about Darren Moogie, um, knowing that he's on a short leash and that firing Glenn might get him another year.
But see, but that's because I don't see where that would give him another year. They gotta
I
perform.
I feel like Well, no, they're talking about Moogie, not Glenn. Um, I, I want to see Aaron Glenn go somewhere
Go where?
where the front office actually supports the coach. They bring him in. They make sure that everybody knows that he's running everything and he has his type players. Now, I believe that if they hadn't traded away them players that they did on defense, I don't think the defense would have fell apart like it did.
I don't know.
Because remember, they were hanging tough. They weren't winning because of the whatever genius. Me and you talked about it. Whatever genius decided to bring in uh oh geez, he sucks so bad I forgot his name. Started in Chicago, went to Pittsburgh, started a whole dumb debate that shouldn't have never been had.
Uh, uh, the quarterback?
Yeah,
Oh, God, because he's still there at Pittsburgh.
nah, he's still with the Jets as far as I know.
Uh, it begins with a T. Oh God, quarterback with a T. Oh, you talking about the one that was in Pittsburgh and went to and then left and went to the
Oh,
Jets?
my bad. Hold on, he may not be in with the Jets anymore because I forgot Gino's there now.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about Gino.
Oh my God, Justin Fields.
Yeah, Justin Fields. And I still and that's another reason why, as far as I'm concerned, he deserves at least an Aaron Glenn deserves at least another year because if if it was not his idea to bring in Justin Smith, he deserves at least another year. I want to know whose idea that was because
Jesus.
from the moment I heard that happen, I was like, what the like whose dumb idea was that? And they sat up there and they talked about it in the preseason to be that young, short arm and throws.
Yeah.
And me and you had a conversation about it. And I said, as much as people want to trash Pittsburgh, we now know why for him to be so young and he was a quarterback. But now we know why he wasn't throwing much.
Mm-hmm.
And then to me, that further tells me that I was right, that Arthur Smith should have been fired before the season started.
Yeah.
As soon as it came out that he wanted Justin Fields over Russ, you
Yeah.
remember, I wanted him gone then. And the season hadn't even started. I'm like, wait, what about Justin Fields? Which, don't get me wrong, I know Russ has his reputation, but what eyes are you using to tell me, even if you don't think that Russ is going to help y'all win, what did you see in Justin Smith that told you that
And
he was going to be a
and
better shot than Russ? I need to know because I know the whole time he was in Chicago, I didn't
he
see it
had
until
he had moments.
I didn't see it until his last year, and I feel like Chicago would have made the playoffs had they not been in the NFC North. Because remember, when his mojo started to kick in, so did dang it. Um
CJ Stroud,
no,
what team you thinking about?
Jordan Love.
Oh,
Him and
oh
Jordan
yeah,
Love, him and Jordan Love, they both kicked in at the same time. And unfortunately for Justin, they lost to Green Bay twice. One game they should have won,
true.
but the game was close. They were showing out. I feel like if Justin Fields and Jordan Love hadn't been on teams in the same division when their mojos kicked in, Chicago would have made the playoffs.
True. I
Because
give you that one.
because they were playing pretty good, and he was finding his footing, and I'm as bad as he looked with the Jets. I wonder if his one opportunity, his make it or break it, was Chicago.
It may have been.
And I know part of that is I mean I know that's got to be in his head that he was starting to figure it out, and they let him go.
You know what? I wouldn't say that it was be a part of it. I would think that if anything, it was the opportunity was there, but the opportunity came so late that they didn't want. Again, how we've had those conversations when it's time to put up or shut up right around
Right.
that extension time, and you start putting up right before then, you can either have some management will be up to like, oh, okay, so you starting to round into your own. Let's do 1 year and then see what you can do before we give you the extension. And then some of
Yeah,
them was
but
like, why did it take so long for you to get here?
right.
And
And then they had an opportunity to get Caleb.
right,
So I like I said, I'm not I'm not down in Chicago, but I still it's just it's a question. It's a question of would what woulda shoulda coulda what if you
mm-hmm.
know how those games go. Let's see here. I found some on Yard Barker. We're mojoing our way to the NBA now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it says five best signings of NBA free agency. Number one, Am Anthony
Simons.
Simons.
Wait a minute, who said that that was the number one?
Somebody. Let's see here. Who from Yard Barker? Sean Keane of Yard Barker.
When was this signing? Simons was a free agent.
Let me know if any of this. Wait a minute. No, that's old.
Yeah, I'm about to say Simons wasn't a free agent this year.
And the thing that told me that it was old was I saw the second one was Terry Eason for Houston.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, that's old. All right. Yeah, they got me. Um, let's see. we might be able to scoot right over to yeah, let's go on ahead and scoot over to it. Work our way. Oh, you know what? We gonna make a pit stop at college for a minute because I almost forgot.
What you got?
Your favorite team to have an opinion about?
Who?
Georgia.
Mm. What they do now?
This was surrounding Nolan Smith. This was on Speakeasy. Hushmanzada um gave his opinion on what Kirby Smart should do because he was jailed for driving 137 miles per hour.
Who was?
Nolan Smith.
Oh,
Let my oldest kids do something over and over and over. That's gonna be the warning for everybody. Kirby Smart should have been held a meeting. Hey, I'm not playing with none of y'all. Anybody on this team get pulled over for speeding excessively, you will immediately be kicked off the team today.
yeah.
Immediately. No explanation, no questions asked. You are off the team.
Yeah.
You done. No, done. Let my oldest kids.
Apparently, since 2023, there's been like 25 instances.
Every single year, there's been multiple players that have been arrested for speeding, have either had some vehicular homicide, vehicular assault. There has to be a time to where, as a coach, I'm not going to keep on doing this. I can't keep on doing this. So I set the standard, I say what it is, and that's what it's going to be from here on out. And I don't care if you've been, and it's a little bit different now with the transfer portal and everything to where you don't have players that's been with you for multiple years, but it's not like all these students don't have the internet. They don't have access to social media to know what's going on. So it boils down to this. Even when you sign your contract to come in here for as a transfer or anything else, zero tolerance policy. You speed. You are. They have got to get back into the mode of it's not us playing. We're not playing for ourselves. We're playing for underneath the brand of Georgia, the brand of UC, the brand of North Carolina. We're playing for that brand. We're wearing that brand as us, and we're a representative of that. So the things that we do, no matter what's the tagline before anything that they put out there in the media, not social media, but regular media, when they say it, they'll say Georgia Bulldog football player, insert name here, was arrested for excessive speeding, driving recklessly, and this, that, third. If my brand becomes synonymous with something negative like that, oh, I've got to do something in order to fix that. So I'm with TJ on this one. That would have been an automatic. Nope. I don't care. I don't care if you are my superstar. I've got to set an example. I've got to set a precedence to where the buck stops here. So how do I set that precedent? By saying it doesn't matter where you are, what level you are on there. Anybody can get it. And that's what it boils down to. Anybody can get it. So I'm
Yeah,
with them.
I've been saying it for years that there comes a time when people got to understand like what you're doing is a privilege.
Mm-hmm.
And that privilege can be taken away. And the thing that I hate is when people go, well, why you gonna take it? They've been working so hard, and
They've been working so hard, but they still willing to put it at risk by doing some stupid stuff like that.
yeah,
So
and so it's like so what's the punishment supposed to be? My our people. We'll give him another chance. Well, this is the fifth time he done did it. Yeah, but he young. Yeah, you say that in their teens, then you say that in their 20s, then you say that in their 30s, then you say that in their 40s. Meanwhile, people around you are looking like, what's wrong with him? How come ain't nobody calling him out?
mm-hmm.
Especially when them people will try to turn around and go, hey, that white person over there doing that, or somebody else over yonder over there doing stuff. They need to get the book thrown at them. Wait, so they need to get the book thrown at them, but because of the upbringing and where he came from and skin color, he deserves a pass because you like him.
And see, that's what it's like. Nah, y'all need to. It needs to be something to where it comes. There needs to become something to where you, like you said, the accountability has to come into play. It's got to come into play because at the end of the day, if the accountability doesn't come into play, then what do you have left for the squad? You don't have nothing to build off of. And it becomes now it's like, okay, why am I doing this? What am I doing this for? What is my whole point of being this person in here for it? So I get it. I get it and I get it completely when it comes to that. But at like I said, it there has to be some type of there has to be some type of repercussion. And for too long, if we as a people will sit there and try to say, well, you know what, it's not their fault that they're doing this for it. They chose to get behind the wheel and decide that they wanted to go 95 million miles an hour. That is a part that is their choice. They chose to do it. So their choice is to do that. My choice is to say you're no longer on the team. You're not going to represent me doing something like that. That's what it boils down to. And people get mad. They can say whatever they want to. They can have all the fits in the world, like you taking away those opportunities from them students, from them doing that. Nah, they taking them opportunities from themselves by doing making those bonehead decisions. And that's what that's all it is. Because if you was to do that for your job, if you used to do that at your job, you would have been ain't like we always say. It's no different. People need to stop treating an athlete and what they're doing as something different than what you would do at your normal 9 to 5. If your 9 to 5 in HR bylaws, if they sit there and they say there's rules to where you could possibly lose your job based off of the fact of the conduct detrimental to the company, why wouldn't they? Uh-oh, what's he making that
People
face
need to
for?
stay out of Florida. I'm noticing a pattern. People need to stay out of Florida. Um, between Arnold and I want to say where was James Pierce Jr. at the time that he got in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I've been seeing a lot of people getting in trouble. Marcellus Wiley, yeah, he was in Florida.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I just seen that one. He's still in jail.
yeah. Now, with all the talk about details not being available, guess what, folks? Details weren't available on this. From what I read, details weren't available on the Marcellus Wiley in Florida situation. From what I read, still haven't heard anything. But anyway, I know that was petty, but
Marcellus is.
you know what? I've always liked Marcellus, and I've listened to his show, and he's pretty good. Um, but you know, I wish we could get it. Wish we could get it together. Wish our people could get it together, and not put themselves in situations. Because as I try to tell people, um, you're representing everybody who has trained you in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
Mom, dad, aunts, uncles, grandma, somebody. Whether it was the traditional or not. Bottom line, you are representing whoever raised you. And you need to keep that in mind with your actions. I know you want to have that freedom to do what you want, how you want, when you want. No, I'm an adult. I get it. But what I also get is perception and how it can screw you over royally. And with that, we are going to fully transition, and I'm gonna let you take the reins on this one. You started, and I will continue it because you said you were gonna do it. You sent it to me, and then I got real petty about it. Oh wait, oh no,
What? U.S. is losing 1-0.
I'm 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 gonna have to do some looking because I think I may have accidentally gotten rid of some of the stuff I had.
Oh, well, I'll go ahead and get started while you look. So, I teased it last week that I was going to start doing a little bit of research. So, every week, every month for the past couple of years, and it seems like since the dawn of time, we've had this debate about we started out this whole show today with the wide receiver GOATs. But the biggest the biggest debate that we've had has been about the NBA, who is the GOAT. And it came to me as an epiphany while I was wrapping up last week. You know, NBA 2K25, they had it to where there was part of your whole dynamic of you playing your game was you were trying to become the GOAT. And you had to do things to earn GOAT points. And they had tiers to where as you did things, you graduated up to tiers. So they had the 50 best players that they marked in there, and they had it marked as tiers. They had it marked as, I think you start out as maybe like you had to get up there to where you was 50th and you can go all the way up to number 1. So within a couple of years, you know, playing 2K, you play around with it, you cheat the system, whatever else with it. I was the GOAT within 4 years because I did things that nobody ever did. Broke the rookie scoring record, broke the league single season scoring record, most threes, multiple years in the season, blah, 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 this, that, and third. But I started thinking, well, 2K had to have a pretty good listing in order to get their tier groups for it. Let's kind of review it. So when I took a look at it, your top tier, your GOAT tier was 3 players. Jordan, LeBron, and Kobe. Tier 2 had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaq, Magic Johnson, Wilt Chamberlain, Larry Bird, Stephen Curry, and Tim Duncan. That was your tier 2 of all-time greats. So I decided every time we get into the debate, there's always different things. Is it about championships? Is it about stats? Is it about how many? Is it about awards? Is it about this? Is it about that? There's never a real telltale way because everybody played different amounts of years. Shoot, we're sitting up here talking about the current God getting ready to go into year 24. Whereas some of these other players have never gotten past 12, 13 years. So with the help of ChatGPT, I decided, let's go ahead and see, let's do a good comparison. And when I say a good comparison was that I wanted to see who had the shortest career out of everybody that played out of that list that was in there for it. So when I did that, started coming out with some good numbers, some interesting numbers here. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson only played 13 seasons. When you think about that, 13 seasons. That means LeBron, if this was LeBron, he would have been out of the league a decade by now. Wilt Chamberlain only played 14. Jordan only played 15. Stephen Curry right now going into this next season will be year 18. So he's already played longer than some of the greats that we saw in the 80s and 90s. And Wilt Chamberlain back in the 60s. Shaq played 19 years. Tim Duncan played 19 years. Kobe played 20. Kareem played 20. And LeBron is going into year 24. So the least amount of years was Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, both with 13 years. So I took that number and I said, all right, cool. Give me each player's best stats for 13 years of their career. Not their entire career. Give me their top level 13 years of stats. That way it's over. That's the entire period that you're looking at for that. So when it did that, it started looking at it started breaking down to all the different categories that we had for it. And we called it their 13-year peak. So broke it down, it started going through there, and it created a stat profile from everybody that's in there. And I'll work my way up from what we had. Number 10 on that list that I gave you, Stephen Curry. He averaged in his best 13 years, 25.5 points, 4.7 rebounds, 6.6 assists, and 42+% from three-point range. Number 9 was Kobe Bryant. Kobe was 27.5 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, 5.1 assists, and 1.6 steals per game. Uh-oh, what's wrong?
Is it true that DeRozan got waived?
Yes. They couldn't find a trade partner.
Wow.
Yep. He's going back to Toronto. All right, number 8, Tim Duncan, 21 points a game, 11 rebounds, 11.6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2.5 blocks per game. 7 was Bird at 24.5 points per 24.3 points per game, 10 rebounds, 6.3 assists, and almost a 50% shooting percentage. Above him in the ranking was Magic Johnson, 19.5 points per game, 7 rebounds, 11 assists, 52% field goal percentage. 5 was Shaq, based off the metrics, 27 points per game, almost 12 rebounds a game, almost 3 assists, and 58% shooting percentage. 4 was Kareem at also 27 points a game, but 13.5 rebounds, 4.2 assists, and a 56% field goal percentage. Number 3 was Wilt at 31 points per game, 23 rebounds. Think about that. Wilt averaged 23 rebounds a game in his best years. Nobody even came close. looking at these numbers. But 23 points, 23 rebounds a game, 4.5 assists, and a 54% field goal percentage. Now, number 2, LeBron. LeBron averaged 28.1 points per game, 7.7 rebounds, 7.4 assists, 1.7 steals, and a 51.5% field goal average. So you already know who they put as number 1 when they did the metrics. Jordan. Jordan had a 31.5 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, 5.4 assists, 2.5 steals at a 50% clip. So when you start looking at it, you start saying, okay, well, LeBron had more rebounds, LeBron had more assists, he averaged less steals, he had a better field goal percentage. It breaks down during that time frame then what years that was where it was done. So it said the best years that was used on that. When you look at LeBron's seasons was from 2005 to 2006, all the way through 2017 to 2018. That's the 13 best years that they gave for LeBron. Remember, we're in 2026. And LeBron won a championship outside of that period that they gave him. But LeBron's stats since 2019, that 18-19 season has been nowhere near his heyday. So then you look at Jordan. Jordan had 84 and 85. A lot of people don't remember the whole 85-86 season. He only played a few games. So he came back in 86-87, and then that ran from 86-87 through 97-98. So 11-year run during that time frame. Breaking it down even further, I wanted to say, what was their winning percentages during that time frame? So their overall winning percentage, if you took just that 13 win, gave you their stats, gave you what they were on their own out of their best 13 years. But what did the team do during that time frame? When it broke down the winning percentages for the top winning percentage during that time frame out of their best 13 years was obviously Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan almost had a 74% winning percentage in there. That's why I always say Tim Duncan is always going to be up there at one of the tops to me, no matter what. Number 2, Magic Johnson, 73% winning percentage. Number 3 was Larry Bird. Number 4, and here's where the rub starts to come into play, Stephen Curry. Curry has a 70% winning percentage in his best 13 years. Mm-hmm. Then the next one, Jordan. 68% winning percentage in his best 13 years. Mm-hmm. So you start thinking about like, oh, well, shoot, man, that's kind of, so where does LeBron end up falling in that category? 5 was Jordan. See here, where we go here, where we go here, where we go here. LeBron 6th. 65% winning percentage. So when you start looking at it, the craziest part that you want to sit there and you think about when you start looking at this whole matrix of what it is, and I ended up having a GOAT matrix that I had it develop off of there too as well. LeBron has stats because LeBron has longevity. A lot of the stuff, if you really think about it, after that season with the Lakers when they won the bubble, which was shortened because of the bubble, everything's been stat padding. Mm-hmm. So, of course, he's going to break and own every legitimate record. He's got 13 years over most of his competitors. The only person that he's got 4 more years than Kareem. So, of course, if you play...
And Duncan.
And Duncan played. Duncan was 19, I thought.
Yeah, and LeBron's at 23, right?
24. He's about to go into year 24.
Yeah, well, so
So
5 now.
he's got 5 years. So that's what I'm saying. So you can't the comparison that people give because LeBron. Okay, I'm never going to discount what LeBron did during that heyday in that era. But
But I digress.
but if he's sitting up here now and he's almost a decade outside of his prime, and the only thing that he has to show for after that decade outside of his prime is one championship and a couple. I think he's only had one Western Conference final since then too. One, yeah, one. So you're not no. I give everything with that, and then to also know, and I wanted to go back and make sure with this here. I said the LeBron's era was from 2005, 2016 to 2017, 2018. The crazy part about that is that the last 5 years of that reign, Curry was a part of it too. In that golden era, Curry was a part of it, and that's when Curry was running the league, especially on that back end of that. So you got during your best years, you still end up with a lower winning percentage than Curry did. And here's the crazy part. Curry's his 13 years, they're basically saying it's still going. Because it ran it through this season. The only year that it excluded was the 2019-2020 year when he was hurt. So he still can end up adjusting that quantity up as he goes further with that. But I digress.
Golden State keeps winning.
Right. So it did the whole metrics for it, and it broke it down to where it went and it ranked everybody based off of, like, it gave 9s and 10s based off of their stats that they had in there for it. I'm trying to get it to drag over, but it doesn't want to move for me right now. Come on. Do this for me. You like me. Let's click here. Come on. So it did GOAT matrix out of it, and it added up based off of what their peak stats was, their winning, their playoffs and finals wins, their awards, their defense, and any advanced totals in order to get a balance of the numbers that's there. And when it broke it down, it gave the full top 10 and for the 13-year GOAT matrix that I came up with. Number 1 was Jordan. Came up with out of a total of 60 points, he came out with 58. LeBron was second with 53. Magic and Kareem. No, LeBron was tied for second. Let me back that up. LeBron was tied with second with Tim Duncan. And then it went Magic, Kareem, and Larry Bird were all tied for fourth with 50 points. Then then Kobe, then Shaq, Wilt, and Curry rounded out the bottom 10. And they said the final rankings for the Matrix. Jordan was ranked number 1 because he was the best mix of peak scoring, titles, finals dominance, defense, awards, and advanced metrics. LeBron was in there. The reason why they gave LeBron tie for second was because he was the best all-around he has the best all-around stat profile and elite longevity inside his 13-year window. And then Tim Duncan was tied for it because he had the best winning percentage, elite defense, 4 titles in the window, and he had an extremely high floor. Everybody knew what Tim Duncan was supposed to be, and he surpassed it. And got 4 chips during that time frame. LeBron only got 3 in that time frame. His 4th one came on the outside of it.
Yeah.
And best all-around stats. Again, he is the best. I will come to this consensus right now. The best all-around basketball player I've ever seen in my life would be LeBron. But my best mix of high level across the board with that, with everything across the board, you want offense, you want defense, you want the awards, everything else. I'm sorry. When you see that picture of him that they drew with all of his awards around him, along with the 6 rings on his hand like this, you can't deny that. And I think that a lot of people, I wish somebody would make an invention to where people can go back, besides looking on YouTube and everything else, and actually experience what it was like to watch and witness some of the things that we saw coming up in the 90s and even the 80s to what we see now. That's why a lot of people sit up there and be like, oh man, they doing all this crazy stuff. No, let's be real here. Athleticism, LeBron, hands down. But LeBron was that built and that athletic when he came into the league. I saw that boy at 18 and I was like, that's not no boy.
No, don't get me wrong. And we've talked about this. Athleticism, he has it. But let's put some context to it. There are plays that they still show today, that you can still find today, of Jordan making people look bad. Magic, I remember one interview, he said he still has nightmares about the move where during the championship game where Jordan went up in the air and he stopped. He literally stopped. That wasn't no camera, no playing with the cameras. He literally stopped, switched hands in midair, and put the shot in. I've told you, there was times where during games between him and Bird, they both took turns taking weird trick shots, putting them up over on the Pistons. I got to see a lot of Larry Bird and Jordan at their best. And even when, as Isaiah put it, he was beating Jordan, Jordan was still giving them problems. He was a problem. The moves he was putting on them, when he had to adapt because he got tired of getting fouled, and he started he started with that jumper where he paused in the air and waited for you to come down, and then he shot it. LeBron don't have that. The one thing that you will always see from LeBron was his free breakaways for a dunk.
Right.
And those don't hold a candle to the highlight reels of Jordan and what Jordan did. Whether it be the jumpers over people, whether it be the God, I can't remember who he was playing, but he literally he pulled a Dr. J. But he made it look crazier because he went under the rim. It seemed like he went under the rim at the last minute.
And then flicked it when he did like this and flicked it underhand.
Flicked it back.
Yeah.
It was like he was on one side and then he just extended and had to give his hand an extra flick to get it to bounce off the backboard and go in. I'm like, I hate you. Just and that's another reason. That's what the kids of today have to understand. His name used to be Michael Air Jordan. They don't know about the air. They only know about the rings because when he was Air, the Pistons and the Celtics was two of the major teams taking advantage of it, of his team. But when he became the championship winner, Air was gone at that point.
Right.
And he was still a problem. Watch them All-Star games where him and Allen Iverson was going at each other, and him and Kobe was going at each other, and they was taking turns just taking each other to the rack. Just they don't understand. I just and it's nothing personal against LeBron. It's not. He is a talent. He is a talent better than Jordan. But at the same time, if you're going to say that, then you got to stick. I keep saying you got to stick Magic back in the conversation.
So it's like, and this is where my homework for people is, if you have Amazon Prime, go back and watch Come Fly With Me. I'm going to try to see if I can find it on YouTube and put the link in there. Go back and watch Playground. And Playground is very, very funny because a lot of people don't realize the young man that's in there talking to Jordan in Playground was the guy that starred in Menace to Society. So people don't think about that. Do Playground, Come Fly With Me, and Michael Jordan airtime. Playground was very, very poignant because Playground was airtime was right around the right after the Olympics. It was another one that I had. I got I still have the VHSs for it. So I gotta look and see. But those highlight packages that Nike and him put together, and they did the whole full videos for it. That's what we used to watch if we couldn't watch it on. We got to see it on NBA on NBC, the original version, not this version that's out there now. We was with Larry Fratello and Bob Costas watching the shows, or Marv Albert sitting up there doing that. But they need to watch and see what it was during that era. And we've had that discussion where it wasn't, like you said, we're used to seeing LeBron take these balls and run down the court on a steel, open field court and just yam it home with all this power and ferocity. That's cool. But to see somebody ballerina themselves around contact in order for them to be able to get shots up and everything.
And he dunked on quite a few people too. Jordan dunked on quite a few people. You talk about some highlight dunks. Yeah.
So
not to mention the dunk contest. My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, the dunk contest. Even go to the NBA films or go back to NBA TV. Watch the dunk contest between him and Dominique Wilkins. That's the dunk contest. The last time, the first time we felt like that about dunk contest in a while was Zach LaVine versus what's the one with the Nuggets that's always hurt?
Aaron Gordon.
Aaron Gordon. That dunk competition between them two made the old heads start looking back and start saying, that remind me of Neek and Jordan. That remind me of and
Carter.
Vince Carter. That's what that reminded us of when you had two nasty dunkers. And
right.
that's why we watch. That's why everybody loved that one. But
So, my bad. Go ahead.
but when it all boils down to it, there is never going to be an actual winner to this whole debate. Different eras are going to look at it and they're going to take what they want to out of what they've seen and point it towards who they want to be the victor for it. But I'm a numbers guy. When you break down the numbers and you take their best and put their best head to head, even with the metrics that's in there, there's still a gap. So you have to, and if you don't, I don't want people to sit there and like I said, I don't want people to take that debate and say, well, it's because of what you saw or what that's in there. Or just because or you ever did it. I've watched basketball for the last 40 years of my life. I've seen it all. I've seen the highs and the lows. But when it boils down to it, for what everything LeBron has given us for 24 going on, probably 25 years when he retires, because he's probably gonna play 2 more seasons, I think. What LeBron has given us over that long period of time, I will always applaud him for it. But on the flip side of it, he's got the awards that he never got. Because I still don't think LeBron's ever gotten a Defensive Player of the Year award.
Nope.
I don't think he got Rookie of the Year. He's got he's gotten those numbers for that. But no, I want when you look at it, and I thought there was a picture that was out there that had the comparison of what awards that he had, Kobe had, and then what Jordan had around him. You can't Jordan when we see those Hall of Fame. No, when we on the All-Star game where they have the stars and the patches for everything that they got now on their warm-ups for like how many times they've been an All-Star, everything else like that. Jordan wouldn't even have Jordan stuff would be down both sleeves or on both lapels of his jacket. It's I would love to hear the announcer for the Chicago Bulls one last time go through there and run through all the accolades of Jordan as he announces them. And ends it with that 6'6" from North Carolina, Michael Jordan. And have that in the background of it, of them coming out of the United Center. If LeBron goes back to Cleveland, which it's looking like it's going to be Cleveland, cool. LeBron won't win another championship. His best bet to win a championship is to go try to make it work with the Warriors. But if he wants to go home, like I said last week, it was either the Heat, go back to the Heat, which you go back to the Heat, you really ain't going to be able to build no team around there. Go back to Cleveland and join on a minimum that squad that they have up there and try to do it. But you got too many ball dominant people. Or go to the Warriors where they will finagle in order to make it work around you. But it seems like all to the purposes, even from what Wendy said this morning, that a lot of teams are saying that it's Cleveland. So just make it a formality. Go out as this generation's best of all time and ride off into the sunset.
Wow, that's weird.
What?
So Kobe played Kobe played how many more seasons than Shaq?
Uh, you go back up here. Uh, one. Kobe played 20. Shaq played 19.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess that's not that much of a difference. I was looking at okay, so obviously that made me looking at your list made me ask some specific questions like who had the longest uh playoff career success, which obviously most games because of his longevity. Um, it took him what 20, 20, 23, 24 years to beat Tim Duncan by 51 games. Uh, in terms of playoff career, LeBron's first, Tim second, uh, Kareem is third, Kobe's fourth, Shaq is fifth. There's only a separation of 4 games between those two. And then there's a big drop off of like 26 games. It goes down to Magic, then Steph, although his continues to grow because he's active. He's at Curry's at 170 games. And he just passed Bird, who had 164.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. I wonder how is Jordan ninth, but he got 179 games, which is clearly more than 164 and 170, but I digress. Um, and then number 10 is Wilt. And then let's see here. If you mean, then ChatGPT said, if you mean the deepest sustained postseason success, then they started. It's LeBron, and then they start going through all his accolades, and which you've already. I don't actually.
No, I
Let's
didn't go
see.
through his
It says
accolades.
302 playoff games, NBA record,
Mm-hmm.
183 playoff wins, another NBA record.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. LeBron has the
Okay. Um, and then 10 finals appearances, and then 8 straight finals, the longest streak by a star in the modern era. It's like among the players you listed, the playoff longevity looks like, and then it goes back over what we already talked about. Then it says one remarkable comparison is that Michael played only 179 games, playoff games, but has 5,987 points, while LeBron has 8,521 in 302 games.
mm-hmm.
So where would Jordan have been?
If he played that many playoff games.
Which let's see if we can do the math on that.
What was the math?
Uh 302 minus 179. How many more games would Jordan have to have played?
123.
Wow.
123. And how many points did Jordan have? How many points did he average?
He averaged 33.45 per playoff game, the
30,
highest in NBA history.
33.45.
Yeah.
That means he would have had, with another 123 games, he would have scored on that average 4,114 more points. Which LeBron and he ended his career at how many points?
Who, Jordan?
Yeah.
5,987. In the playoffs, anyway.
Right. 5987. He would have ended up with 10,101 points in the playoffs.
I like I said, there was a time where how quickly you did it in a short amount of time. And I think that's what LeBron fans need to understand, that that's the people that have a problem with it. That's why they have a problem with it. It's like it's taking him longer to do everything, and we're supposed to be putting it up there the same way that we were for people that was doing it quicker.
We're supposed
So,
to we
and
give the
then
respect where respect is due, but we also give the whole instance of where it's you can't sit there and have one thought process when something's completed 10 years afterwards. Be like, Dad, you just did that. Case in point, I'm joking with my kids and stuff because I'm like, I've never played Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm about to start playing it for the first time leading up to Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out. I'm about to play the storyline. They was like, you ain't played that? That's been out for 13 years. We already beat that. We've been online for this whole time frame. Okay.
mm,
I understand that. But if I turn around and say I didn't beat almost 70 to 80 something games in that time frame around work and being a parent and everything else like that, versus y'all probably beating 5, and I can tell them the 5 right off the top of their head. That's not a sports or a fighting game. What's the difference?
okay. So I, I'm about to what I'm about to read off next has me a little confused because I also put deepest success in the playoffs and said if we are measuring deepest and most sustained playoff success, here's how the players you listed stack up.
Okay.
Kareem, 6 championships, 10 finals, 13 conference championships, NBA record. LeBron, 4 championships, 10 finals, 12 conference championships, 183 wins, while Kareem had 154. I don't know why they put plus. If he won more than 154, put the exact number, but I digress. Um, but then Magic, he uh he had 5 championships, 9 appearances, 10 conference finals, won 128 games. Tim Duncan, uh, uh, 5 championships, 6 finals, 8 conference championships, won 157 games. Kobe, five, 5 rings, 5 out of 7, 8 conference championships, won 135. Jordan, 6 out of 6, 8 conference championships, and won 119. Shaq, 4 rings, six finals, 9 conference championships, won 129 games. Larry Bird, uh, 3 rings, 5 championships, 5 conference championships, 199. Because he's currently playing, Steph Curry was next with 4 rings, 6 championships, uh, 6 conference championships. They put him at 99 plus. Then Wilt Chamberlain, 2 rings, 6 championships, 9 conference championships, won 88 games. Says conference finals count as conference/division finals equivalent in each era. So if the deepest if deepest playoff success means most championships, Jordan and Kareem with 6. If most finals appearances, LeBron and Kareem. Most conference most conference finals, that's Kareem with 13. Most playoff wins, LeBron. Overall playoff resume ranking, Kareem, LeBron, Jordan, Magic, Duncan, Kobe, Shaq, Curry, Bird, Wilt. Only interesting comparison is Jordan versus LeBron. Jordan 6 for 6, never lost in the finals. LeBron 10 finals, 4 championships, reached the finals more often, and holds the all-time records for playoff wins, blah, blah, blah. So if you're judging perfect championship conversion, Jordan has the edge. If you're judging deepest and longest playoff resume, it's LeBron and Kareem unmatched. But I have a problem with that, though. Seeing that you're including Wilt, why are we not including Bill Russell?
Bill Russell was not considered in the top 2 tiers, and he was the first one in tier 3. So that to me means that they put Duncan over Russell, and then that's what pushed Russell down. And the reason being, from what it showed, was while Russell had the championships, he didn't have the individual accolades because he was playing during that Wilt era.
Okay.
And the balance of what the Boston teams was to put him up in that tier with it. Yes, he's the GOAT of the championships. He will always be the GOAT of the championships, but it wasn't the MVPs, the MVPs or the finals MVPs, which I don't know when they actually started giving those out. And during that time frame, it wasn't those accolades that was bestowed upon him during that made it to where he would be bigger than that. So it's that, like I said, that's another caveat that they have to throw in there for it. We got to understand that some of these awards might not have even existed when some of these players was playing. It was
Right.
just the championship.
Yeah.
And to take into account how many games was played, the playoffs might have been much shorter. So they might not have the longevity in games in there for it because it was less teams. It's so many different caveats that you have to play in there in order to do it. The reason why the modern era of the NBA from the 80s on gets a lot more of the hearsays, because you got to think about it. Since the ABA was added, how many expansion teams have we had? 4? That's it? I want to say it was only the Oklahoma City from Seattle's relocation, Toronto, Memphis, but Memphis was Vancouver. That's it. Hold on, I gotta check that.
And then here's my problem. In terms of like, since we going off of percentages, you do know technically percentage wise in terms of winning championships, he's like 9th.
Who?
LeBron.
Oh yeah.
The only
Yeah.
person he beat out percentage wise was Wilt.
Yeah. Oh damn. Damn. I'm tripping.
Yeah, that's the only person he beat out percentage wise.
Huh. I would have thought it was way more teams than that. Huh.
Yeah. But because even with Bird only getting 3 out of 5, he's still 60%. Magic 55. And you know Duncan's was high because they only lost because they gave it away, not guarding Ray Allen, but I digress. Yeah, that one still burns.
True.
That one still burns. You broke the number one rule. It's been a rule since the boy entered the league. You do not leave him open behind the three-point line, and if he gets away from you, foul him.
This is true. We already know that one.
That was the rule. That's all you had to do.
Yeah, but people don't have to do what they gotta do. But I know I gotta do what I gotta do, and it's 9:15. So I gotta skip
and
that one.
I gotta throw on some shorts and go run an errand, get my granddaughter some food. Long story.
Oh, shoot. All right. Well, you know what next week starts.
I know next Monday is home run derby.
Yeah, and you know what that means? That means we start going through the conferences, start doing win-loss records. It's time to get predictions done because we're a month away from preseason.
Yeah, and I did kind of get away from that because I was like trying to do something like that. So I guess we'll just start completely over.
Yep. We're gonna go through. We're gonna go north, south, east. Well, no, we're not gonna do the north yet because that's the Bengals and that's Detroit. We'll save them for last. We'll go south, east, west, north.
South, east, west, north. Okay.
And then start so we can start looking at seeing what teams we think is going to be shockers, what teams we're going to have for the predictions. And I'm keeping track of the predictions. There's going to be a spreadsheet again this year. And we're going to make sure that we know what we had for what. That way we know compared to what our finished product is, what our actual product is. And we will go from there.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, because I just seen something that I'm about to click on. Apparently, Shannon is pro God. So
You
and
just saw that.
Somebody done said something about the God. I got a feeling I know who it is because I saw Max Kellerman said something that I
And
can
I just
imagine.
saw the reason why I'm done with WWE. I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get
somebody posted something. I knew basically what I saw. I knew it was coming. It was a question of when, and so
at this
so
point. At this point, I don't know who's doing the storytelling. I get why you did the split. I understand when I watched the show last week and I saw why they made the pivot. You're trying to get the big name matches for SummerSlam. I get that. I get that wholeheartedly.
well, that whole thing wasn't over. That's why it didn't make any sense to let Oba win.
But no, because here's the thing. They let Oba win because what they did was basically they put the King of the Ring championship. They put it in basically in stasis until he gets finished with Brock.
Right, but usually in situations like that, you knew that that's why the person lost.
Right,
because they had kind of like when somebody loses a title, it's usually because they got beef with somebody that they don't want the title involved.
And if they would have let Brock cost Oba their championship, I would have sat there and say that. But the flip side of it was
they
that
threw a curve because they knew that's what everybody was expecting.
Right, and then the other part of that was Jay even going to Jay against Sammy? If you knew you was going to put the title on Sammy, none of it makes sense because Jay versus Sammy makes more sense than Cody. The only way it makes sense with Cody going back up against Sammy is if you're going to do a double flip. You're going to flip Cody to a heel and make Sammy a face. That's the
Which
only
they've been flirting with that.
right, but that's the only thing that you can do to make it make sense. Because if you had Sammy win over in Saudi just for him to lose at SummerSlam, you did it for the feel good moment in front of his people, and that's
Yeah.
not what you do for championships.
And yeah, well, there's
And
been
you're
certain
making it a
times
habit of
in
it because you
history
did it in
that
Chicago.
they've done it.
You're making it a habit of it. So that's not a good look. But what just happened that I just seen makes absolutely no sense because you put the titles on somebody to take it away from them within 2 weeks just to announce their new manager.
Yeah, I figured that's what you were talking about because somebody posted that online. And I knew it was coming. I just didn't know how they
yeah,
were
you
going to
knew it
do
was
it.
coming, but now what do you do? Because now it's 2-1 towards that towards the team that got the titles now. Do you give them another rematch and you start playing ping pong with the title?
I think something's going to happen, and Seth is probably going to have to up the ante to ultimately. But here's the other curveball. You saw the reaction
To
when Theory ran into Paul. And
right.
I think Paul has washed his hands.
Right. That's why I said they just announced they just displayed their new manager. That person's taking the place of Paul.
Which makes if I'll have to look and see who it is because if it's who I saw,
It's who you saw. They had been teasing it in the background. Remember, they kept on showing that like they would be talking
I
in the
figured that
background.
person was going to be a part of it. I didn't think that she was going
Yes.
to. What?
Yes.
You can't go from Paul.
That's why I said I'm done. That right there. That's why I said I'm done.
You can't go from Paul.
Paul to
No.
that.
No, you can't go from Paul to and I got no beef with her, but you can't go from Paul to her. It's not oh God, they're about to become Judgment Day 2.0.
You went from Paul to her, and you took the titles off of your hottest act besides the person that you got going for the World Heavyweight Championship.
And it's
For
got
what?
the internet a buzz. So they're
And then
happy.
the other part of it is because here's the thing. I know you mentioned Seth with that whole aspect, but Seth against Breaker at SummerSlam was Seth's breaking off of there. So it's not
Right.
Seth. It's going to be Joe Hendry. They
Yeah,
started
but he
that
gonna
when they
have
came
to
out there for the whole concert last week.
yeah, he's gonna have to find somebody to well, yeah, Street Profits, which means Bronson, no,
It's on its way back.
which means that they would have to find a fourth person.
No,
Yeah,
no. Who would be, why?
because you got Logan.
Logan's out. He can't wrestle for almost 6 to 8 months.
Okay,
That's why it's still 3-on-3.
okay.
So, but that's what I'm saying. That's the other
Yeah, but
part,
he can interfere. So I
right?
mean,
But you got two that can interfere with it
yeah, yeah.
because
So they're
because
gonna have to.
that's how that damn match ended.
Yeah,
It wasn't
that's
clean.
yeah, yeah. They used like photos, but yeah, I saw it.
I guess,
They
but
gotta throw curveballs at you every time you think you know.
you
They'll
don't know, and then it messes you up. All right, no.
but with that, Dante Suave, Mr. J. We'll
Everybody
see you
have a
guys
good
next
one.
week.
See you next week.